Today is Thursday, September 17th, and the time is 6 p.m. We are opening the Cultural Council meeting. As a preliminary matter, this is Robin Lawson, Chair of the Newbury Cultural Council. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Board members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Bart Bracken.
Here.
Marguerite Flanagan. Minnie. Minnie?
Yeah.
Thanks. Lloyd Hemman.
Sorry, I lost my audio.
Michelle Ouellette.
I'm
Here.
Amy Thurlow.
Yes.
Good evening. Today is an open meeting of the Newbury Cultural Council, which is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the fondly known as COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed to encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Newbury Cultural Council is convening by video conference via Zoom as posted on the Cultural Council agenda, which can be found on the Cultural Council section of the town's website. The agenda identifies how the public may join the meeting. The agenda can also be accessed from the website's homepage by clicking on the box that says Agendas at the top of the news box. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some or all attendees are participating by video conference. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have not included the rest of the preamble because it is not relevant to this meeting. So we're going to go right into the agenda. Let's start with, actually, I was starting to say, let's start with a grant modification request, but let's not. Let's instead start with the new grants cycle schedule. I believe you all received an email today from Mina regarding the new schedule. And if you didn't get it, it's fine. I'm just going to go over it with you. What happened was, and thank goodness, Susan Noyce actually caught it, that the grant cycle has been pushed out an entire month this year. The information that I normally reference was outdated, but there was new information on the public website that it was updated. And looking into it, what we learned was that there is no state budget. So because there is no state budget, or there certainly wasn't a month ago, we don't know how much money we are going to, the MCC doesn't know how much money it will be allotted. And so obviously we don't know how much we'll have locally. So that's why it's been pushed out. So instead of September 1st, which is normally the date when, thank you, instead of September 1st, it's now Thursday, October 1st that applications open. And then rather than mid October, it's now November 16th is the deadline for grants applications. And then we will be able to see the panel books, which of course are the grants applications between November 18th and December 1st. And then voting meetings will be held, over the holidays or whenever we can convene. And then the annual report is due February 16th. That intervening time frame is when I, as your chair, will be sending out the denial, the disapproval, and approval letters to all the grants recipients and those we deny. So that is the new timetable. Not ideal, but it is what it is. Any comments?
No, I did get it clearly. Sorry about that.
Well, thanks for sharing, Amy. Yeah, this has gone up before, and the reason we missed it, just parenthetically, Amy and I both completely missed it, is because Mina sent out, office hours changed this week was in the subject line, and kind of like trailing at the end was, and the new schedule. So, but now we're all now we're on track, and we've got it. So that said, let's from there go into grant modification.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, I'm sorry.
So you mentioned that it's been extended or pushed back because there's no state budget. Is there going to be a state budget? Is this schedule potentially at risk as well?
I know only what we've been told, Bart, and there it hasn't been an update on that I can think of. I mean, honestly, I don't read all those emails top to bottom. I skim them, but I don't recall. Amy, have you seen anything saying that there? I don't know about the state budget, to tell you the truth, Bart, but we haven't heard anything from the MCC otherwise.
There has to be a budget at some point, but it could certainly be pushed.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, it's like everything else this year. It's just, you're walking in quicksand. So right now, but I can tell you on that note, and this is kind of jumping ahead on our agenda, at some point, I'm going to need to start doing some knowledge transfer, because my term is up next year. And so there's, Michelle, this is really for you. This particular item is for you. We send out a press release to the paper. Thank goodness we still have a local paper, announcing that the grants that local groups can submit their grants beginning October 1st. There is a template online that's easy enough to find, but what I'm going to do is send you last year's, and if you could update that and send it to Richard Lodge at the paper, that would be really great. And then that's going to be what I've been doing, as you all know, a bigger part of this job than really I should be, because we have had no secretary, and it's not good for a lot of reasons. But the most important reason is that there's nobody there are people who don't know what I know. So that's really going to be important to do some knowledge transfer going forward. So that's just thing one. And it's simple, Michelle. It'll take you literally 5 minutes just to plug in the new dates and go from there. And then since we're on this topic, the other thing that we should do that I actually just never got around to doing was we really should be sending out a press release about the grant recipients this year that I just didn't get to. It's just too much. So I didn't get to it, but that's just an FYI for you. And then later in this meeting, actually, let's talk further about whatever we're thinking about going forward for their participation on the council, which is right in the agenda. Succession planning and individual plans for terms. So now let's, any comments on that, everybody? Yes, go.
I have a question. You said next year. Does that mean not July 2021, but July 2022 you're done, or July 2021?
July 2021.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and actually,
we have October, November, December. We have 9 months to find a new chair.
Right. And I actually sent.
Lloyd, will it be you?
Onward.
Situation fluid.
Situation fluid. Well, we have such a good group now that the tasks really ought to be apportioned better across us. And so the chair job, in my opinion, really should not be as much as I've been doing, and frankly, as much as Kathy did before me and Amy did before me, because we didn't honestly, people. Well, do you agree, Amy? People just weren't picking up the slack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to change that, and we need to change that not just because of me, but for obvious reasons. There needs to be a better understanding across the council of what the responsibilities are, and we don't want all the knowledge residing in one or even two people. And we were up the creek without a paddle because our treasurer, our last treasurer, there was a lack of knowledge transfer, and so Amy had to kind of learn on her own. those are the many reasons. The most important reason as to why we need to are going to need to address that. And as far as my term, I actually sent a note to Ellen Jameson, who is the executive assistant of the Board of Selectmen, because I actually don't know. Amy and I were talking about this. If the term limit is a Newbury Board of Selectmen mandate or if it's an MCC mandate. And Ellen never responded to me, and so I need to ask her that. I need to just email her again, or I'll just call her and find that out, because I would be, if I can, if there are, then it's possible that there are exceptions, who knows? I would be willing to stay on for another year if absolutely necessary, but we really ought to find somebody who can take over as chair. And the thought occurred to me, I wondered whether Kathy might be interested in rejoining. Nope, never mind.
Don't you worry, I've tried.
You've tried, okay.
Is there a chair and then vice chair so that there is an easy knowledge transfer, or is that not a position
That's a
open?
good question, but not in our group, Michelle. But honestly, with a strong treasurer, a strong secretary, as much as that's actually a really good idea. A vice chair, I think, is a good idea. But for now, I think that with the positions we have, we ought to have it covered. And then the chair, the secretary, the treasurer can look to another member of the committee and say, hey, I need help here. Can you just give me an extra pair of hands? Like, for instance, I could say, I need help writing the disapproval letters. Here's what I did last year. Here's the list. Could you do these? And I'll take the approval letters, or whatever it is. That just as an example. Or Amy might say, you know what? I really could use some help with the annual report. Could you, Bart, please just, here's how to do it. Could you just, spend a half an hour and help me with this? Those are the types of things that I see happening. What do you think, Amy, given your tenure on them?
I love the idea of a vice chair, even a co-chair sort of position.
Yeah,
would be useful. I think that you take on way too much, Robin. So yeah, sharing of knowledge is useful.
Some other boards that I've been on as well is that they've had like a chair emeritus that stays on for a year after, just to be the knowledge. But that might be difficult, not knowing, this is a volunteer thing, so it might be difficult for
That's
people.
a really good idea, and that's one of the things I'm going to pursue with Ellen. But that it's such a good idea to have a vice chair or a co-chair, and we can do what we want. So let's kind of tuck that away in the backs of our minds as we go forward.
I did have one other question that related to what you had mentioned in the newspaper. So the paper does not charge us a fee to put, okay.
No, it's news. And so there's the template. I've got in my files, the press release from last year. I'll send you Richard's email. It's simple.
Perfect.
So you could, that's just one, I could do it in the time it takes me to show you how to do it. I could do it myself, but that's not what we're trying to accomplish here.
Nope, send it to me.
Right.
I'll do it.
Okay, thank you. So anything else on that topic? Because we haven't really talked about succession planning and individual plans for terms. I kind of wanted to leave that to the end, but since we're kind of on the topic, should we, why don't we just discuss that? So you kind of heard from my end. You guys all have terms that are, I don't have it in front of me, but you all have terms that go for a year or so. And why don't we start with you, Amy? What's your thinking about your role and going forward now and in the future?
Well, so this is my second term, first as treasurer. So I've got 3 years at this, and then I am done. Because we can only serve, Michelle, I don't know if we've said this, we can only serve 6 years.
Right.
Okay.
So
you're good with what you're doing now because you just assumed a new role. Is that correct?
I'm good with what I'm doing now. Yes. Yep.
Okay. Lloyd?
Does that answer your question enough, though? I feel like. I feel like you're asking for more and I don't know what it is.
No, well, I am and I'm not. Because you just assumed the new role as treasurer, and you're not at this point entirely sure, I would guess, what that entails because you haven't done it yet. It would be inappropriate, I think, for me to say, oh, and by the way, you want to do something else. I think just let's get our minds around, like with Michelle. Let Michelle get her mind around her current role before we talk about taking on more. The other context for this question, everybody, is not just because I'm going to have to move on. It's also because this year, unlike previous years that I've been on the council, and Minnie, this is in large part for you, we've talked about some other things that we would, a broader vision of what we'd like to accomplish that is nearly impossible now under the COVID situation, but it's certainly something that we ought to look forward to. When we had that meeting with Mina, you weren't there, Michelle, but everybody else was, and we really got jazzed about some of the stuff that we could feasibly do. It's not something that's currently relevant, but when I was posing the question about individual plans for terms, and not just terms, but also involvement, I think was what I was looking for. So that's so you're right, Amy. I was looking for a little bit more than that.
But as treasurer, what more are you asking me to do?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. Mm-mm. No. It's kind of a two-part question, which is, and for you and Michelle, as I just said, you've taken on a brand new role, so I don't think it's appropriate for me to ask you to do more than that. But the two-part question is, for everybody else, let's just keep going. So Lloyd, do you have any thinking about getting more involved? Your term is, you have 2 more years, I think.
Hey, let's go with a title for everyone. I don't know. I'm at this point, I'm still getting used to the duties that we have. I am not so enamored of taking on leadership roles anymore, but if needed, I will serve, and I will carry through. I like to lead from the side or from behind rather than in front, but I will get out in front if needed. Okay, so I'm not going anywhere, and I'll probably do my full 6 years without any, and I'll do what needs to be done. All right, so that's where it's at.
That is good, honest answer. Does anybody have any reaction to Lloyd besides my
So
thumbs up?
Lloyd's on his second term and he has 2 more years on that term. Is that
No,
right?
on his first
I'm
term.
on my 2nd year, which means I got 4 years to go
Got it.
if I do 2 terms. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
And Lloyd, when you think back to that conversation we had with Mina about getting, I mean, this is long term, once we get out of this
Right.
expletive deleted, then do you think if we could get involved with some more fun stuff about what we can actually do in Newbury to bring
Right.
more,
Yeah,
after we get our survey done, et cetera, et cetera? Some
that
fun
does
stuff.
interest me. Yes,
Okay.
that does interest me. It's not my favorite thing to read grant proposals, but hands-on things, I'm more that kind of person.
Okay.
Right? But
Yeah, I totally
as
agree.
needed.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind this. I totally agree with Lloyd. I wouldn't mind this being a more dynamic group than just voting on money.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think we have the people in place to do that, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. But unfortunately, it's not something that we can even address. I was saying to my friend last night that I really enjoy the Newbury Cultural Council, but I'm not enjoying it now because of these Zoom calls. It's very difficult for us to even talk about what we might want to do in the future than activities that are more creative under the current circumstances. But I just wanted to plant that seed. I think we've lost Minnie. Michelle, any thoughts on that from your? I know you missed that meeting, and I apologize. When I'm talking about Mina, yeah. So Mina is our MCC contact, and she actually met with us live here in Newbury down at the library last year. This year, last winter. And so we, in the course of the conversation, I think it really opened our eyes to the types of things that other councils do, rather than just be as passive and, button pushers that we have been in the past. And so it was pretty exciting. So that's kind of where that question came from.
Yeah, I don't like button pushing only.
Yeah.
I'm more into let's be hands-on.
Okay, so let's hope that next year when we, and certainly before I'm done, let's hope that we can have a conversation about this and start thinking about maybe, I'm just going to throw this out just for fun. Maybe we say we really need to have some sort of a town-wide celebration, especially when we climb out from under this situation. And we're going to have a community day in Byfield. We're going to resurrect the community day in Byfield, and we're going to carve out some of our grant money to do that. I'm just saying, just as an idea.
Right. And we still have Bart here. We got to hear his presidential bid.
Yeah.
Bart, you nominated
Not a
yourself
presidential
as council chair. Yeah, he's just about to.
Listen.
And would you put him on mute now, please, Amy? Now that Bart nominated himself for.
I did not. So I just want to echo what everybody is saying. It is not interesting because I don't feel like I'm promoting culture in Newbury when I read these proposals, because many of them are just from the past, and they're just the same ones every year. Not that they're wrong, not that they're bad, but we dole out a relatively little bit of money. I think our role is really to promote culture in Newbury, and we might want to think differently of how we go about doing that. And so I look forward to those kind of strategic discussions. I would be happy to continue my participation. I agree that Zoom calls is not optimal. And we have a ways to go to kind of form as a group and figure out kind of how we're going to go about that. And, I look forward to those times and those changes. So I'm committed. I'm not ready to step up to be the chair, but I am absolutely willing to be fully engaged.
That's great, Bart. Thank you so much. So, Minnie,
Minnie's back, but she is still muted. I'm asking her to unmute. I don't know what it looks like on her phone. So
She's frozen again.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Oh, she's good.
Robin,
yeah?
you
Are
can't
you
hear
able to
me?
hear what everybody
Can you hear
said, Minnie?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I want to know from Lloyd how you lead from behind, because that's what I want to do.
There you go.
Good. That sounds like a really good trick. I am certainly willing to do more. I need a lot more to learn, so I need a lot of support and guidance, but I'm certainly willing to do more. I have one more year like Lloyd in this term. So,
Minnie, did you hear the conversation about being more proactive about promoting culture in Newbury rather than just
yes.
approving grants? Are you on board with that?
Yes, I did. I heard most of that. I wasn't at that other meeting
with Mina?
With the gal from the state, though, and I'm sorry I missed that.
But you get the gist, though.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful idea. Although I think Bart's probably right. In COVID land, it's hard to figure out, how to get up in the morning and go about your day any more than being innovative. But I do believe it will come.
Yes. Okay, so we've actually covered, we're working backwards. We've covered succession planning and individual plans for terms. I actually stuck in my agenda here, new password. We have a new password from the state that is in the Gmail inbox. So it is accessible to everybody, but there is no need for you to go into that inbox if you don't want to. The reason I brought it up on this call is because I didn't want it to get lost. So I wanted to talk to everybody live and say, I think the easiest thing to do is for me just to forward the password to all of you, and you can put it someplace where you'll remember where it is in your Newbury Cultural Council file. But you can also go into the inbox and see it yourself. Okay, does that work?
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll do that in the next day or so. We talked about the 2021 grant cycle and the date, and within the context of what we're talking about and the grant cycle, what we have always done in my tenure on the council is have an informal get-together in person. There are
We
7.
we usually do that to introduce new members. And
That's true. I know, but we have none of. I mean, I haven't met Michelle.
oh, well, I mean, I'm
Michelle
I'm
hasn't-
on web all day. This is as good as it gets for me.
Yeah, to me, but I wanted to float this out to you guys. We could move up. Look, let me just speak for myself. I would love to have an informal, non-open meeting mandate get together, which we've all to get like in person to get together, which we've always done in the past, socially distanced, following the rules outside, which we could do before the weather gets cold, and we could do it at my house. I just wanted to float that by you because I would really like to do that. Thoughts?
I would like that. I tend to be pretty careful.
Absolutely.
I'm just a little, I'm around too many people that could be very adversely affected by COVID. So I have to be extra careful.
Okay.
So I will socially distance and wear a mask. I've only started recently to start doing this. It can be done as long as we're all aware of things.
Yeah. So what we've been doing is, and I am the opposite, Bart, because I never go anywhere. I don't come in contact with anyone. So that's not my frame of reference, but I completely understand what you're saying. So the proposal would be outside, masks, socially distanced for an hour max, just to actually see each other. That's the proposal. What's Mamie? What do you think?
Who'd you say, me or Minnie?
I'm sorry, I said you, Amy. I'm going clockwise.
Yeah, I'm okay outside with a mask.
Okay.
Pretty particular otherwise, and I don't see anybody. I'm just not really
Just me.
a fan of a pandemic. Yeah, I see Michelle. You guys can just join us on a walk.
Yeah, and we could each do a hybrid. We could do a hybrid if we wanted to. Lloyd, what do you think about that?
I'm flexible to the situation. We'll see, but outside, appropriately done, yes, I can make it.
Okay. How about you, Minnie?
Absolutely on for outside.
Okay, so we could do it in an afternoon, a Sunday afternoon.
I can't do any weekday afternoon.
Where would we do it, Ron?
No. A weekend is what I meant. Or an evening. We can get the fire going in the fire pit. Everybody can put sweaters on and we can just schmooze. If we can
Okay.
find a date. But sorry,
Proposing to do this at your place, Robin?
Yeah.
You're proposing to do this at your place?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Sit outside on the patio. If it's chilly, just bring a sweater and have some
Can
clocks.
we make s'mores?
We can make s'mores.
Can't eat them because of your mask.
And marshmallows and chocolate and graham crackers?
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, so now that we have kind of tentative buy-in on that, the next thing is to find a date. But I don't want to take up your time to do that now. And we also need to. I want to reach out to Margaret and find out where she stands on this. So let's just kind of tentatively plan that because of course it will be weather dependent. Okay. Well, I might even actually do a doodle poll for this one, but I don't know. I haven't thought it through. I just mainly wanted to get your reaction. So let's move on that one. The 2021 grant cycle we talked about already. Any comments about that? I mean, no, we talked about that already.
No, we're fine.
Okay, now the grant modifications. Amy kindly sent you all last week the grant modification requests that we need to vote on tonight. One is from Contaminous Chamber Chorus, and one is from Newbury Choral Society. Did everybody have a chance to look at those ones? What?
Choral Society.
Essentially, what they're doing is they've changed their programming obviously significantly. So instead of using the money for a concert, they're using the money for what they would use the money for anyway, which is essentially pay the director. There's nothing really radically different about it, but it behooves us to vote. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I was in the middle of pulling this one up, so I think you're talking about the other one, but this is Contamus.
Yep.
Okay.
So can he
Just to catch you up.
Sorry.
Oops. Sorry. Just to catch you up, Michelle, did somebody just log into the Gmail also?
No.
Because the,
Oh, I might be in it already. I'm in it already.
All right.
Amy, I'm gonna get out.
well, you can share it.
It went away, Amy.
I know, because Robin and I cannot be in the same account at the same time. It does not like that.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
So just to make sure Michelle knows what we're talking about,
Sorry about that.
these folks have submitted a grant proposal for a specific thing, and it couldn't happen because of COVID. So we still want to give them the funding for if it makes sense. But to do so, they have to tell us what they changed, how they changed it, why they still need the money, and that sort of thing. So all of these are normal procedures, but in order for us to approve it, we have to have them submit it in writing like this.
Okay, yep, like a modification,
Mm-hmm, yep.
but for the same amount.
And which one are
They're
we
not-
looking at first?
Contaminants.
I'm trying to reopen it, but
Yeah, it's there.
you can still see it. Great.
Essentially, what they're doing is rather than
Oh.
having at rehearsals, preparing for a concert, they're having virtual meetings and kind of like vocal coaching and discussions about the music from a more academic standpoint. So it's a learning experience. It's pretty. I think it's a pretty fine pivot, in my opinion. And so, but they have the same costs. I mean, all the organizations pretty much have the same costs.
Yeah, I saw number 2 mostly, which was we've been doing all of this online. Everybody's still been involved. They've still had to pay people. It's just been online. So the costs have still been incurred.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The only thing we've ever dragged our feet on is if it was just to pay somebody or to pay staff, those kind of things. I mean, we usually go with that, but in this case, it keeps them going, and that's what we're here for.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So let's take a vote, Robin.
Let's take a vote.
Yeah.
Robin, aye. Amy,
Aye.
Lloyd,
I
Bart,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Minnie.
Oh, we lost her again.
Aye.
I can see she's saying aye.
oh, we have a majority.
We have a
Well,
Oh.
I do want to say, Robin, I
No,
think
I'm
through the
here.
Robert's rules, you have to abstain unless you're only needed as a tiebreaker as the chair.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Well, thank you. All
I
right.
learned things, yeah.
Okay. Well, tough luck because as a former singer with Contaminants Chamber Chorus, I actually wanted to vote, but I'll abstain. So there's something else in this email chain that Steve emailed us today asking about something having to do with the
He emailed us today.
yeah. Having to do with the cable TV.
Oh, shoot. Let me email.
I don't have a clue. I wondered if maybe
Hold on a minute.
I am not a fan of Gmail. Nope.
I can't find it, Robin.
Mm.
Have it?
Oh, I hope he didn't email it to me personally. I'm pretty sure he didn't. All right. Well, anyway, I can just email you guys about this. What he's asking about is, do we have any information about cable? No, it's not in my personal email. It's got to be there someplace. But regardless, does anybody have any knowledge or contact information or know anything about Newbury, the Newbury cable channel?
No.
No, but you know what? I would recommend he reach out to the town hall. They probably do.
Okay, that's what I'll.
It does have information right on the website.
I only glanced at it because I figured we'd go over it tonight. But anyhow, I'll find it tomorrow. Moving right along, I will definitely abstain on the next one, even though I am also a former singer with Newbury Folk Choral Society. This one is not the documentary film festival. We already voted on that. Amy, she's going to be submitting. Jesslyn will be submitting her reimbursement shortly.
Yeah, and I want to say, I don't know if you guys noticed, but she did email, I don't know if it was to all of us or to this group, that it's going on now. You can still participate in the film festival online, and they're selling tickets, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
You know, support your local culture.
Mhm.
I did see that. It's good.
Yeah, it's, I'll tell you, it's, I mean, to me, that's a real asset to the community, and I mean, just my opinion.
Which one are we looking for?
We're looking for Choral
Why can't I
Society.
find anything? There it is.
Right.
There you go.
Let's see.
And this is
Just
the
trying
one.
to
where I
find the
said,
one that had information.
Are you looking for this 2020, Brenda, or are you looking bless their hearts, these people write these long, long emails.
You did a good job, though. I thought this was super useful.
Yeah, this here, I asked for the specific cost here, but frankly, we probably just could have, you know, waved a magic wand over it the same way we did with the other. But she, you know, I wanted to make sure that what they submit for reimbursement is something that Amy can, you know, Amy can approve. And so this is what she's submitted for their online. They're doing the same type of thing that Contamus is, frankly. So why doesn't everybody take a quick look at this and then we'll vote, okay?
How much did we give them? I don't remember.
I don't know off the top of my head.
So, because those numbers, I don't think we gave them that much.
No, we did not.
No,
I
those are,
truth
You may have put it
Well,
here somewhere.
I can find it real quick.
I do remember, but it wasn't, okay.
No, I can tell you. I can tell you in about
Oh my.
5 seconds. $300
Mhm.
Yeah.
for Elijah. Oh yeah, that was the one that she brought me to tears, because their choral director, she wrote and said that we have to cancel our spring concert, Elijah, that was going to be performed in honor of George Case, their longtime beloved director, who was moving on to another job, and then they couldn't do it. So it was just awful. Okay, so those are we're going to do a roll call for that. I am going to abstain. Amy?
Yes.
Lloyd?
Yes.
Bart?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Minnie?
Yes.
Excellent. I will.
I do have a question though, but I
Yeah.
mean, obviously these exceed their expenses, so will they just be submitting for like one of these then? Like
They'll be going to
Zoom?
other sources.
Okay,
Submit for what they asked us for and what we approved.
okay,
And they get their other funding from elsewhere.
Yeah, they get their funding from the
Newbury, Salisbury,
all,
Raleigh,
you
who
know,
knows?
member dues, et cetera, et cetera. This is just one drop in the bucket for them.
Each town contributes.
Right. Wherever they apply. So they're going to be applying to, say, for instance, Newburyport, Salisbury, their, you know, constituent communities.
So Robin, can I ask, because I don't know what I'm doing, these have been changed. Who notifies town hall? Me?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yes.
Okay.
So you need to be in touch with, so let's see, the reimbursement requests will come into the Gmail account, because that's what I'm asking people to do. They used to be mailed.
Mhm.
And then, and when I'm asking Jesslyn, for instance, I specifically said, would you please say this is a reimbursement request so that Amy will know it's for her. So
Okay.
then you approve it, and then there's some paperwork, and this is, you know, the knowledge.
Then you sign.
Yeah, they have to be co-signed,
Yeah.
which we can do electronically. And then you submit it to Eileen, the town accountant, for reimbursement. And then she'll handle it, you know, right away. And that's the process, I believe.
But to be clear, first I have to let her know it's coming?
I don't think so.
Or do we wait? We just wait for the reimbursement request?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when you get it, you and I don't know exactly what it looks like, because I've actually never done it before, but there's some sort of a form that you sign that will go to Eileen, and then you forward it to me. I'll you know, e-sign it, and then you shoot it over to Eileen, and she cuts the check. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we need any coaching on it, then we can just get on a quick call with you. Okay, make sense?
Yeah, except that the person from Cantamus
Containment?
has already submitted one dated on the 14th of this month.
Right.
And that's
Should be all set. We just have to say yes.
It's all set. So you sign it, I sign it, we send it up to Eileen, we're done. And then what I'll do, because essentially that's just what he did because he already had an approved grant.
Yep.
Then I told him we had to have a voting meeting, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Choral Society, Brenda, on the other hand, I told her we had to have a voting meeting, and then I'll tell her like tomorrow that it's approved, and then she'll submit the reimbursement forms.
Okay.
It's just how what the dialogue is. Okay.
Yep.
Makes sense? Any comments on this stuff, you guys? And then, but this is really good. I'm glad we're having this conversation because in the whole context of knowledge transfer, now everybody kind of knows how the process works, which probably, you probably didn't know before. That is it, except for survey update. Now, let's see, how should we address this one, Amy?
So I can take this one if you
Good,
want.
thank you.
So after so much work, Susan Noyce from the town created the whole thing on Google, but Robin and she dug into it, and the only way we can mail it out is if we find the funds and do it ourselves, which we don't have the funds. And I think Lloyd's concern last time we met, where not everybody's online, and if you're sending it out via social media, I'm not on social media, blah, blah, blah. So it won't hit as many people as we want, and we will not, in my opinion, get a good read on what our community wants. So we discussed tabling the whole thing for a year until this thing is past us, and then we can reconvene, because we can't sit outside and survey people at the butchery or whatever it is we wanted to do, and we can't mail.
But
So
we can't.
wanted to.
I'm sorry for butting in. I'm sorry. We can take money from, we can request money to cover our mail costs during the appropriations process. Okay, and that was explained to us by Minnie from the Grant Council, that we can submit for mailing costs. And so that's
the town?
No, our committee can,
Ourselves.
can request reimbursement for mailing costs, okay, from MCC, okay? So that was explained as part of the things we could do for our survey, okay? Because other towns do mail their surveys.
Yeah,
I don't
So-
believe that at all. I'm sure you're right.
So I would agree that we table, investigate reimbursement for mail costs, and pick it up in the spring.
Yeah. So that's what we need to vote on, I think.
And Michelle, it's so valuable to have you taking these notes because, I just didn't remember this stuff. So thank you so much, Lloyd. There's another alternative too, and this is what I talked to Leslie Haley about, and also somebody else at town hall, that we could ask to have an insert in the tax bill, but we need to arrange the way, and there still would be some cost, but it wouldn't be as much. We would need to arrange that way in advance. And my thinking, Lloyd, is if that's what Mina told us, then that's really that's what we should pursue. And take.
I have that in my notes, and I specifically remembered that. That's why I brought up the whole thing.
I knew there was some mailing thing. I just couldn't remember. I knew there was a mailing option. I just couldn't remember what it was.
It would be interesting though, because Lloyd, you mentioned there's a possibility of reimbursement, but I think before you spend the money, you should actually know if you'd get reimbursed.
Absolutely. I think that you can, if we can put a number on the cost, they'll give us the money in advance. There's a whole process for it. She was going off on it, and I made a note of it. So that's why I submitted the mailing list. But yeah, we should look at that. An email to her, a quick call, she probably can fill us in.
Yeah, or it might even
like
be in the information online. I mean, the information online on the MCC website that's available, for LCCs is quite extensive.
Right. So I'm sure the
Lloyd,
information's there.
would you be willing to investigate
Sure.
Great.
Yeah, I'll try.
If you
I'll
went,
give it
I'll
my
give you the new
best.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you went into the MCC website for LCCs and look, and I'll give you the new password, and look under surveys, it's probably covered right there. And it made me, what I would do is if I don't find it in 5 or 10 minutes, I say, fine, I'll ask Mina, which is certainly an option rather than spend an hour researching. It's not worth it because that's what she's there for. But if you can find it easily, then that, but
Right.
it's up to you. It's up to you how you handle it.
All right, send me the
Thank you.
password.
I will.
Make sure I get the password.
Yep.
I'll do the research. If it's not readily available, we'll follow up with a call.
Excellent.
Yeah, easy
And
peasy.
Thank you.
One of the reasons we were doing the survey was to create our priorities, but Robin has filled in the priorities on our page on the Mass Cultural Council website. So we at least have something there, whereas before we had nothing.
We tag teamed on it, to tell you the truth. And the reason we didn't include everybody, frankly, was just because of the timing. It was due September 1st, and it just snuck up on us. So it was a scramble. But frankly, what we did was we took the priorities that we have all talked about and just phrased it. And then I think what we do is next year when we get survey results, if we want to revisit it, then we revisit it. But it's pretty general. And I can't imagine that any of you would disagree with it. So, but we have the option of changing it next year.
So I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm okay with all of that. I did want to argue against any insert in a tax bill. I'm
Okay.
not sure that's where I want to be associated with.
Oh.
I think ultimately we want to know what people really want. And I think we're going to find that most people have no idea. And that really part of the survey is also to educate and to energize.
Mm-hmm.
And so I look forward to doing it right, where we can really learn from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that observation, Bart. I agree with you 100%. And it ended up, like, quite frankly, it ended up feeling like, can we just, my sense was, can we just step back and do this right? This is just like everything else this year. This is just not the right time. Let's, even though we've spent a huge amount of time on it, let's do it right and table it till next year. So we need to vote on this, and then we're done. Oh, 6:51, perfect. I'm going to abstain. Amy,
Aye.
Lloyd,
Yes. Yes.
Bart,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Minnie.
Yep.
Excellent.
See you
Michelle
all next year.
our intrepid note taker. And so the next steps are, action item for me is to send you the password. Action item, and for me is to approve the grant modifications. The action item for you, Lloyd, is to look into the survey reimbursement
Mail cost.
before our next meeting and our next official meeting, which will not be until probably after Thanksgiving. So no rush on that. And meanwhile, the other action item for me is to get in touch with all of you and also reach out to Margaret and find out if it's even feasible to have a socially distanced meet and greet so we can all, meet Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
All righty.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to adjourn. Thank you very much, everybody. And
Thank you.
yeah,
Stay
and
healthy.
stay healthy, but and also stay happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Bye, everyone. Good
Right,
to see
thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank
you.
Thanks a lot,
Thank
Amy. Thanks for running the meeting, Amy.
You're no
Good
problem.
meeting.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye.